In this video, we're going to talk about emotional responsiveness and also define what exactly is emotional responsiveness. Stay tuned. Welcome to The New Love Addiction. I'm Alan Robarge, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. And let's explore what is emotional responsiveness and what happens when we have missed opportunities to connect through emotional responsiveness. I want to acknowledge that there happens to be a construction crew outside of my window right now. So as I'm leaving this video, we might hear wonderful noises of cranes and cement trucks and perhaps maybe even a jackhammer. So hopefully it's not disruptive, but I wanted to share that with you. Real quickly, wanted to focus on planting the seed for you to think in terms of emotional responsiveness. And when we're talking about attachment injuries and missed opportunities with a partner to feel connected, to feel emotional connection, what's happening is there's a lack of an emotional exchange that's taking place, and a physiological process is unfolding in the body that triggers a certain level or degrees of panic and worry. So let's break this down into very early, simplistic forms and an example, which would be, think of an infant with a parent, and the parent is mirroring the child. And what I mean by mirroring, that if the child smiles and coos and makes noise, the parent very quickly responds back. So imagine the parent's like holding the child, and the child laughs, and then the parent laughs back, and the parent will smile back, and there's this dialogue, this dance, this engagement, this back and forth, where the child, just by right of making a noise, is essentially saying, "Notice me, I'm here," or "That was funny," or "I like the red ball," "I like that butterfly," "I like the balloon." Even if it's nonverbal or pre-verbal, the child's eyes are lighting up. And mom's level of engagement to mirror back with the child, to repeat, like, yes, that is true, that is fun, that is exciting. Children at the early age, when they first learn single words like dog or truck, or things that kids like when they see them. So on the street, oftentimes I'm walking my dog, and there will be a toddler, and then the child points and gets excited, and then the mom responds. The mom jumps in and says, "Yes, dog." And there is a completion in that process. And what happens is the limbic system of the brain, the nervous system, also activates in a way that there are certain hormones and chemicals that get released into the body. Oxytocin is one of them. And it's these hormones that we feel a sense of connection, being seen, known, heard, and understood. The parent is joining with our experience. So let's fast forward. Let's think of more in terms of being an adult. And certainly adults do not speak the way that you would speak to an infant. There's a bit more of a sophisticated or mature level of higher functioning. So a partner that you're with is not necessarily going to coo to you the way that you would a baby. But if you would share, "Hey, I like a song. I just listened to a new song. This song is really cool. I like this song." One way the partner can engage is to really want to know what is going on for you in your inner world. And the questions would be, how does that song make you feel when you listen to it? What is it about that song that stands out for you that are different from other songs? Or if the partner knows your musical taste and knows your history with music, can then draw a comparison and say, well, that song feels a little different from your other favorite songs. What do you think is about you and your musical tastes right now that are really evolving and maturing? The type of questions that I'm coming up with are really getting to know or trying to get to know what is your inner world experience of this new thing. We happen to be talking about music, talking about a song, but what is your inner world experience of this song that you like, of this approach, this experience that you're having? I want to know more about who you are because you like this thing. I'm trying to ask you to open up your inner thoughts, your dreams, your aspirations, your preferences, your likes, your dislikes. Let's imagine the opposite, that there's a lack of engagement. And if you're with a partner and you say, hey, I just listened to a new song, I like this song, and then the partner says, have you purchased it yet? Or the partner says, you already have a number of you already have a number of songs by that artist. Or the partner says, oh, that's nice. There's a missed opportunity here. And let's go back to the imagery of the parent and the child. The parent is mirroring back, again the word mirroring, that no matter what the child presents, if the child says truck, or the child says dog, or balloon, the parent's able to say, yes, balloon, I see it, I see that. And when we think of more mature or older interaction between adults, if you say to a partner an aspect of your experience, be it you like a song, or let's say something happened at work, hey, I want to tell you about this meeting that we had at work. If a partner does not engage to inquire about what is your experience, your inner world experience, your likes and dislikes, your aspirations, your dreams, your contemplations, how is that experience at work impacting you? Pretend it was a meeting that you had at work. To be able to inquire and say, well, not only who was at the meeting, but how did you feel that, all three bosses showed up at the meeting? What was it like for you to sit through a 2-hour meeting? These types of questions are attempting to be more inquisitive and to go deeper into knowing what is your experience. When that does not happen, our body does not release the hormones and the chemicals that contribute to feeling a sense of belonging and safety and connection. We experience instead, I'm sure that you have experienced this or know the phrase, a kind of cocktail party chit-chat, a rather very light conversation. The phrase I use is talk about nothing. We get an experience where we're interacting, but we're essentially talking about nothing. Now, I'm using examples of verbally, of content, of the type of questions a person would or wouldn't ask. But it also has to do with nonverbal emotional interaction, the nonverbal body language cues of being able to look your partner in the eye, If your partner is excited and says, oh my gosh, I just heard a new song on the radio, it is so cool, that the other partner responds and lights up equally. You can mirror, you're matching what the other person is doing, and you respond with, oh, that sounds so cool, I never heard that song, tell me more. What is it about it that you found so, intriguing or exciting? There's a reciprocity. There's a ability to observe or see what's going on for your partner, and then you match it. You join. So let's pretend it's the opposite of joy or excitement. Let's say your partner comes home from work and is angry and upset. There's an ability to walk right into the anger and the upset and to show up and say, I can see that you're brooding right now. You look really angry and upset. What happened? What's going on for you? And then let's say the partner says, something bad happened with the customer, and my boss sent me an email that was negative, and I'm just feeling crushed. And then you can say, yeah, I hear that you're feeling crushed. I would be crushed too. Tell me more. What have you got an email like this before, or is this the first one? And then you gather more information, and then you say, well, how, now that you've had a chance to talk about it a little bit, how are you feeling about that email? How are you going to interact with your boss tomorrow? Those types of questions are a little more solution focused, which it doesn't have to be in that realm. But nonetheless, I'm trying to give you examples of creating an exchange, a back and forth, to notice where someone is at emotionally, and then to mirror that. Now here's the challenge, and here's where we run into problems. For people who grew up in families where there was little emotional interaction, the child most likely developed a skill to overcompensate, so that the child could observe that the parent was not interacting, the parent was not mirroring, the parent was not engaging in emotional attunement to the consistency and frequency that the child needed. So what happens is, when we come from a family in that scenario, we begin to overcompensate to anticipate what the other person is feeling, and we will blurt it out. We will make it very easy for the other person to we will do their job for them, essentially. And what this still allows me as the child to have an emotional interaction, but I'm also being trained, or I'm training myself by the situation is training me to be overly focused on what is mom or dad feeling, what is mom or dad doing, and in order for me to get my emotional needs met, I am going to have to initiate the emotional connection, usually in a bigger fashion. I have to overcompensate, hello, I'm here, notice me. And we can do this by caretaking. We start to take care of mom or dad's feelings. This does not serve us, this skill, as an adult, because it means that when we meet a partner who's not emotionally engaged, who's not emotionally in tune, who's not participating in emotional responsiveness, we use this overcompensating, caretaking aspect ultimately to try to get our needs met, but we're doing it by monitoring the experience of the other person. And over time, we lose connection with our own experience. So not only then is the partner not providing emotional connection and emotional responsiveness, but now we have managed to sign up to do the job for both of us. And where essentially I'm, to use the visual of the parent and the child, the infant and the child, I'm now becoming both in that moment, where I am experiencing the other person's feelings, the other person's potential outlook on a situation, and I'm overcompensating by narrating it or providing some kind of connection for that person, but it's not reciprocated. It's not coming back to me. What is helpful here in the spirit of, well, how if I understand this dynamic, how do I work with it, and what do I do with this dynamic? In the spirit of focusing on how is we begin to break down these interactions of when we're overcompensating and when we are not getting fed back or receiving nourishment back. We're trying to notice this pattern, the give and take, the cycle of reciprocity. And when reciprocity is not happening, we have to look at, well, what happens to us when it's thwarted and it gets I'm just trying to think of another word for thwarted. I can't think of something. When the reciprocal exchange does not happen, it can trigger in our nervous system feelings of panic and being left out and being ignored and being rejected and being misunderstood. And it's how we manage those feelings that's the place of the work. That's the place of healing. That's the place of focus of what happens to me when I'm engaging, be it with a parent as an adult, a family member, or with a significant other partner, or with a partner. And when I have these moments where there's not reciprocated emotional attunement and emotional responsiveness, and then I shut down, then I feel panic, then I feel left out and rejected. For some of us, we feel abandoned. It's in that place, in that moment, that's where the healing work is. It's not about focusing on the other person to meet your needs, focusing on the other person failing you, focusing on the other person's lack of skill and how if only he or she could improve, then I would be able to feel connected. We have to realize that the place where we feel rejected and abandoned, assuming that there is some history of this happening, that is where your healing work points towards. That is where the healing work will take place. That you are engaged in those moments in a dysfunctional level of relating, and you will not resolve this pattern if you are focusing on the other person to make it better. They can't make it better. You have to make it better for yourself. One way to do that is to enter grief and a grief process, to feel the difficult, painful feelings of the emotional exchange not happening, to notice how you lose your power, you get disempowered in this place, and over time to build up your sense of worth and your sense of power, and to come back to making choices around whether or not the level of emotional nourishment is sustaining, and if you are going to stay in this relationship or not. And if it has to do with a parent, assuming that you still want to be connected to your parent, it might mean creating very real-world limitations on the degrees in which you can connect with that parent, because you cannot continue to connect in ways where you repeatedly feel as an adult like you're not being valued, seen, known, heard, or understood. Thank you for listening. If you like this video, if you want to share a comment, if you want to talk about it on this YouTube channel, please subscribe, please leave a comment. Also know that I facilitate a Facebook group of the title, The New Love Addiction. You can find it by searching within Facebook for The New Love Addiction. Also, I will put right here the URL and you can join the group. Check out more videos like this on YouTube or also on my website if you want to look at some blog articles about attachment theory, attachment injuries, emotional responsiveness, and overall emotional attunement. Take care of yourself. This is a healing journey, a healing process, and it's about understanding relationships and how can we work to take care of ourselves in service of improving our relationships and having more satisfying exchanges of connection, both with friends, family, and of course, loved ones. Thank you.